Welcome back, everyone here. We're just about to enter the final 2 hours of the race. I'm here joined by Dominik Engel, and until just 2 seconds ago there was also Isaac Price, who just left. We're here at the 6 hours of Westhill. And this is our current race leader. Here we see Niki Darkovic for Virus. For all those Virus fans out there, Virus currently first in GT1 and 6th and 9th in GT2. Up on the top of the screen you have the scroll bar showing you the positions. If you have questions, go to the LFS forums and into general LFS discussion. GT World Series 2014 Round 1 broadcast thread and ask your question there. Also, we've got a possibility to show you the live standings. That's tracker.newdimensionracing.com with lots of information. And now Isaac Price returned to our little party here in the commentary booth.
Yes. I've been having some weird issues where my keyboard just randomly stops working. Like, keyboard still works, but it like makes this weird noise when I press buttons and stuff. I think something to do with sticky keys, but I haven't worked out what it is. So I tried restarting my PC to see if I could then, because I was stuck full screen in LFS. So I restarted my PC to see if I could change something and if that would fix it, and it didn't. So
Well, that's another lesson learned.
And a quick reboot. If I had to reboot computer, it would take much longer to be back on TeamSpeak.
I
rebooted
my PC and went and got a drink. Just saying.
Meanwhile, I got rid of the rat poisonous strychnine I was served.
When you mean served, do you mean stole from your dad's
No.
beer collection?
No, I bought it myself, so shush.
That would explain why it tastes so bad then.
It's very cheap.
Reminds me of one of the comments about this race from Stick 209. The race came a bit more interesting after I found my beers.
I don't know, it literally stopped being interesting literally 20 minutes in. Smash Mouth timed out it, but was he driving this time as well? Oh,
Don't think
please.
so.
No, okay.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
I feel quite sorry for Tomek though. He hasn't got anyone who can just take over the car and drive.
Yeah,
It seems to be a very usual issue with FreeID these days. They seem to always have internet issues. Like, I mean, even when R2 wasn't in the team, it was Tomek who had the internet connection issues. And
I remember, wasn't it like at GT2 World Series to last year even at Aston where Tomek was lacking and he couldn't tell Yachty because he didn't have a microphone, and then he just timed out.
I don't think Yanni was even there anymore.
That reminds me of that great GT2 World Series finale in 2011 when he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be gone for the first 3 hours. Can you do the triple stint?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's definitely a very Yanni thing to do. He's had a few very interesting adventures in the iRacing Drivers' World Championships. So.
I think everyone has interesting adventures in iRacing these days.
It's like I don't see him online all week, and then I see him driving in DWC, and he's like dive bombing like 10 cars on that one. It's like waiting for the crash.
Hey, it's midnight exactly in my country.
So, 2 hours to go. To put it in another perspective, 2/3 of the race are already
Gone.
over. Are gone.
You
Gone.
can
Someone
say
stole them.
you can say already or finally over, depending on your viewpoint of this race.
Well, I had to drive this over, so I'm fine. But I think this track is potentially worse to lap on in parts than the next track.
But then on the other hand, if you look at the sort of the field spread in this, it's going to be 10 times worse at a different track.
Yeah. And you know what the next track is, right?
No, I have no idea.
Blackwood Reversed.
That should be fun.
Yeah, should
At
be
least
like
the-
ALMS in the heyday at Lime Rock Park. Fantastic.
At least the GT2s don't have an excuse. GTMs run it pretty recently, so should be plenty of decent sets around for those guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. And especially if they get punctures, they don't have an excuse either, especially the XRs, because R3s virtually last forever there.
Well, it depends. They might try and extend the stint. I don't know.
And extend the stint to 1 hour 25.
Oh,
No,
it's a
my
3
tire
hour race.
popped. How did that happen? No, it's
Four.
no, it's actually a 6-hour race. There's no shorter race than 6 hours.
So then,
Might do a 4-stop, yeah. A GT2. I think tire-wise it should be, for the GT1s at least, it should be less of an issue, because I think 1 hour is more easily achieved around there.
yeah, BL1R is actually quite a
Oops.
tricky track on tyres for GT1 though, if I remember right.
For the heat, but not so much for the wear, yeah. At least not quite as bad as this. And I was in the pits if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, and he's just given the car to R2, so
Well,
for their sake, let's
that-
cross our fingers and hope they can stay in the race, and then perhaps there may be some interesting battles later on in the race.
Yeah, before this lap, they were just 6 seconds behind Team Virus, so
And in GT2, Sonic Realms have just taken the fast lap of the race.
the 99 car.
Yeah, there's two. Isn't
Yeah,
one of them's a bus.
yeah, the other one is the bus. And because it's the only bus, I like to say that it's under protection of the law for minorities.
Which means there are 4 classes in this race. There's the GT1, GT2, then there's GT LLM, and then there's FXR.
Hey now, don't be hating on LLM. They're-
No, I'm just meaning it because they have the most cars by far. They have 4 entries.
Speaking of LLM, they are 8th in GT1.
Third in
Third
GT2.
in GT2.
Third in GT2 and
But
Sixth in GT2 and 17th in GT2.
But they're basically second in GT2. They've done their pit stop, and the 2 cars ahead of them haven't. But
yeah,
they were behind
that's
before.
true. Really running only 1 hour, don't they? They're just hour mark. That's enough for them. And the two in front of them just go that little bit further, especially I think the 77 core car.
Yeah, Sammy's really struggling in this stint though. Every time I've looked, he's had like a 37 or a 38, whereas race pace here is sort of high 35, low 36.
I'm not wrong, didn't he do GTM here?
Yeah, he did.
And I think he was better. He was lapping better than that back there in that race, in that fabulous GT Masters race.
It's a bit hard to compare because there's different restrictions, but I think in general all the drivers were driving better in GTM than they are here. I don't think it could be costing them that much time.
You know, if I could have had 6 races of GTM like the first 3 races, where I would have been the happiest person alive, but unfortunately it didn't quite happen. The first 3 rounds were awesome, I must say. I think that was probably some of the best driving I've seen with GT2s. I would love it not to be a thing of the past, but well, you gotta react to what circumstances are like in the community, and with how many drivers there are and what they want to drive, and you can only do so much as someone who tries to provide league races.
Yeah, I definitely think the community's gone a bit, or at least on the competitive side, it's gone downhill quite a lot since, because like there's sort of a peak where from like sort of end of 2012 to sort of middle of 2013 where things were actually looking pretty good still, but I think then everyone's interest sort of dropped and no one's really put the same sort of preparation into the races that they did before.
Yeah, seemingly so. I mean, you know, I'm not claiming I'm a saint, and I do understand, you know, we had 150 somewhat sign-ups for GT Masters. We had over 80 people trying to qualify for 30 car field. I know that's horrendous, but you know, even as much as I try to see reason and know that people get, you know, lose interest over a season, or lose interest if they cannot qualify, you know, going from 30 cars to 21, that's okay. Going from 21 cars to 7 is a bit harsh.
I mean, the thing is though, is I think part of the problem is that to be competitive, like at this level, to do your best, which, you know, quite a lot of the top guys, if they don't do their best, they're not happy because they're racing against guys that they used to be a lot faster than, because nothing's changing in the sim. And if they don't put in a lot of effort, they fall back because their experience doesn't give them such an advantage, because it's a leveling playing field, because nothing's changing in the sim, if that makes sense. And it does sort of, if you want to drive more than one league at the same time, it does become quite demanding to sort of do that, especially if your interest is dropping in the sim itself. I mean, you want to be doing, you want to be doing it plus something else. At least that was my sort of situation, where I felt like if I wanted to actually achieve a good result compared to what I used to be able to do, I couldn't do that plus the iRacing stuff. So I decided I wasn't really getting the same enjoyment out of LFS that I used to. I mean, I still enjoyed driving it, but I didn't enjoy the work that I had to put in. Whereas, like, when it's something new to you, it's a lot more
input versus
interesting.
output. That's always the ratio you have to be aware of. If you can put whatever work you want into something, but if at the end the output isn't sufficient, then it might have all been for nothing.
And I guess as well the setup extractor sort of put a negative light on LFS. I don't think it directly affected anything.
Oh, not really.
It did cause a few sort of arguments over nothing a few times, and I don't think it really helped.
And also, I think, well, it's not. I'm not gonna be one of those community people and say, "Oh, people don't publicly practice anymore. I killed LFS." But it's just, often you haven't seen someone drive one race in race trim till the race since that came up.
Yeah, I mean,
It wasn't like that before.
For me personally, I mean, I didn't really care for watching other people's sort of pace so much. But at the same time, one of the things that made me enjoy LFS a lot more was the sort of the community side of things. You could join to a server and you'd have a bit of banter with someone. But now, because there's no reason to be on the server, because you're just going to be giving away your setup to someone anyway, I think that's quite negative as well. I mean, I always practiced on a different server because I didn't really enjoy the, if you're doing a stint or something, you don't want to have your stint ruined by someone.
Yeah, but now you don't even dare to press Shift J anymore on a public server.
Yeah.
Certainly taken away an element, I mean, it kind of looked all roses when stuff like Turbo Trophy started off, and you had 72 people really, racing in public on our public server and practicing their backsides off, just to make the 32 car cutoff in pre-qualifying. That's basically lots of setups right open there, but except for those occasions, you never saw it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, I sort of missed that point. That sort of stuff was going on while I was off having an iRacing adventure at that point. But I came back sort of like GTM and stuff like that, and I quite enjoyed that. But it was quite, after like a few rounds, it was quite exhausting. I don't know really how to explain it. Like, I'm the driver who has quite a lot of motivation compared to other guys, but to be able to sort of get to the level I wanted, it took a lot of effort, and if you didn't put that effort in, you might only lose like a 10th, but that was the difference between being 2nd or 3rd on the grid and being like 7th or 8th, and it was quite... I just decided that I knew that I couldn't put that effort in for the whole season, so it wasn't worth continuing.
You would have been bloody first for round 5 because I had S7 people.
Yeah, well, I guess a lot of people. I think in the end, a lot of people sort of went down the same route. That just a few people dropped out, and then a few others were a lot lazier on practice, and then there wasn't the same appeal to driving anymore.
It's a shame, It's if the second half of the season had been a mirror image of the first one, it would have been like close to perfection for the league. I think just. Because the competition was fantastic. I may admit that 24-hour qualifying is probably slightly more flawed than it is good, but well, yeah, certainly at least got everyone practicing.
But to be honest, though, you can't really. No matter how hard you try, you're battling a losing battle if there's not. Like, on the competitive point of view, it's a different story when you're talking about the sim in general, but when you're talking about the competitive side of things, you need change to bring the new innovation on the setup side of things, to reset everything back to zero. It helps the motivation and the competitive side of things, whereas when it stays the same all the time, drivers do get bored and move on, and that then affects the guys who are trying to move up the level when they suddenly get to the top of the sim, but it's not because they've improved, it's because the better guys have just disappeared. Then it does negatively affect things. But I mean, we did see the same thing before when the first wave of guys left with the Hugos, the Jesse Niemannens, the Raymond Moonies and all that lot. LFS dipped a lot at that point, and then it came strong again. The problem is this time is there isn't really the same influx of people coming in.
I've just caught myself, looking at the result of the first ever qualifying session of MOE, which apparently was a league that once was quite good. At Kyoto Grand Prix without the chicane, and I know the physics were different and everything, and S2 was a new thing, but lap times are absolutely appalling. I mean, I think the pole is almost 5 seconds off from what the current world record is.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, if the physics are different, then that makes a big difference. I wouldn't really read too much into that.
Yeah, not too much, but it's still, throughout like 05, 06, 07, 07 not so much, but 05 and 06, you could really see that even world records, were often not as fast as poles or fastest laps in races, because people weren't just trying as hard in the world hot laps, because the hot laps were a thing you did aside from the leagues. I mean, remember, LFS once was one of the top games in ESL Pro Series game, international
ESL
championships.
Euro.
Yeah, ESL Sports Car Championship and stuff like that. I mean, it was once a massively competitive sim internationally, and now it's just. I wouldn't say it's gone, but it's faded away pretty extremely.
But it sort of just moved on to a different sim, really. I mean, like iRacing is that sim right now.
Last time I saw a racing game on ESL, it was Project Gotham Racing, and they didn't care to brake or steer, they just rammed every single wall, and I got eye cancer from it because I couldn't watch it anymore.
Yeah, they pretty much went into the arcade titles.
Yeah, well, I guess if you're going from something like LFS and you're going to go on a cost basis, then the arcade game is where you would go. LFS for a simulator is pretty cheap, but then that's also part of the reason why it hasn't really moved on. It's just such a small scale game that it can't compete against bigger games and bigger sort of titles and brands. They don't have the money, they don't have the people, and part of that is just because it's their choice, they don't want it, but it does negatively affect the whole game.
But yeah, I mean, I think DWC, the roadside, they had Nvidia involved as a title sponsor. I'm sure, I'm sure those $10,000 at the end of that season, some of them were, maybe sourced from Nvidia. Maybe.
And I mean, it's not just that though. A lot of the teams have sort of sponsor deals, not where they get money, but they get pretty significant discounts on products that they
on hardware,
buy.
yes.
Yeah,
on hardware they need to compete. Yeah. When I think, looking through, because as I do, randomly I look at the SimRace TV archive, which is, by the way, on the www.racemedia.org if you want to have a look. If you look through the SimRace TV archive, you see all the top R-Factor leagues like FSR, for example, and just a number of teams with Fnatic sponsorship. It seems they really, not really had an initiative, but they really didn't mind at all, and probably thought it's a good thing to get themselves involved in sim racing teams to promote their hardware. Whereas Logitech, for example, didn't do that at all, almost, in comparison. Also Thrustmaster doing it.
Wasn't Thrustmaster even the title sponsor of some of the FSR seasons?
I think so, yes. Thrustmaster was one of the title sponsors, but a lot of the teams in it, ironically, had Fnatic sponsorship. just
well,
like
from my experience, a lot more guys in other sims have fan attack software, hardware
that's true.
than in LFS.
And software as well.
I think that's why. It's just because of that sort of thing. But to be honest, going back to comparing like LFS to the other sims right now, the only reason it didn't die, 2 or 3 years ago, is because of the way you can do endurance races and the takeovers and stuff like that. If there was that sort of feature in other games, I think LFS would have died a long time ago. That's what makes LFS so. It gives it something unique because the teamwork is completely different in LFS than in any other game.
Yeah, for example, the way takeovers work in R-Factor 1 is confusing beyond belief compared to LFS.
I never tried it. How does it work?
Apparently you have to join... I don't even know. I read a guide and it had a lot of steps. But apparently you have to join the server as a spectator, and then you somehow have to join the car, and there has to be a pit stop or something, and the guy driving the car has to get out of the car, and then is a spectator, and then he might piss off the server. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, and that's one of the positives for LFS, that it's so easy to do a takeover.
That and the netcode as well.
Yeah, the netcode's really good in LFS as well. The only slight problem with the takeover thing is you do wonder if that's the fact that it's so easy to do it in LFS could possibly be the same sort of reason that it's possible to so easily rip setups and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably.
Because obviously the setup has to be able to be carried in the takeover system as well, so...
Santos coming in for the 9th pit stop of the 72.
Oh dear. That pit crew is busy.
Well, they know what they did today.
Pit a lot.
First preparing 4 cars and then having to do service on one of the cars 9 times. At least, I mean, we're still 1 hour 40 to go.
Perhaps now is a decent sort of time to be having a look through the field standings to see what the situation really is, because there's a couple of teams, at least in GT1, that are going to have to stop only once, whereas there's a few teams that have to stop twice. And I think in reality 3ID are currently actually ahead of Genuine because they're not going to have to stop twice, only once, for example.
Yeah, so the standings in GT1, Virus in front of Genuine Racing and in front of my 3ID. What's interesting about this are the last pit stop times, so the time since the last pit stop. And Virus is 45 minutes now into their stint, and from our experience they only do another 10 minutes. So that's going to be likely to stop till the end.
Yeah, I think 3ID definitely looks like the only team who can do the rest of the race on one stop.
Well, Infinity will be able to as well.
Oh yeah, and Infinity, but at the moment it doesn't look like they have the pace.
Yeah, exactly. It takes about 37 seconds or something to do a pit stop, so
for us I think it takes 22.4, something like that.
yeah, but then plus the time you're going through the pit lane, surely it...
Yeah, obviously, but the pit stop itself does take 22 point something seconds for 55 minute stints, which is 36 laps, something like that.
looking at the time loss, though, like overall, it's about 39 seconds. Or well, it sort of varies from like 36 to 39 seconds, depending on how good the outlap is and everything. Which probably means it's a bit too much for Free ID to be able to catch Vires, but they should jump Genuine if they don't have any further issues. But it's hard to tell because Free ID, once Vires pit, they'll be quite a lot faster for the rest of the stint. So, because it's like times you gain like over like 1.5 seconds through a whole stint, I think. So.
Unless you're me and you're caught in tire saving mode, even though you're running short stints and you don't have to. But I guess, well, their drivers look quite good, and they've got Nicky, and I think, you know, I think in that team of Virus, there in that lineup they have, I think Nicky is the only one who's done a race on this track with this car in the last 2 years. And well, I'm not gonna say he's the key element, but I think traditionally he knows what he's doing when he's racing, strategy-wise, and he's certainly not a bad driver.
What's the driver limit here on this?
I think it's 75 in the 6 hours.
So Vires have got no issues, but that's why R2 had to get back into the car so that Tomek could do the last stint. I guess they want to leave him in the car for the last stint in case it's like a safety car or something.
And Nicky pretty much could stay in the car for the rest of the race if you want.
I doubt that he will though. Looking at the stats, he looks like he's their slower driver, so...
yeah, slower, but the more stable driver.
And his stints were actually slower, shorter as well, so it's like he was actually one of the worst drivers on tyre wear as well, so... I'd be surprised if I saw him go to the rest of the race, because even if they don't need to put their faster driver in, they'd probably prefer to, as long as there's no sort of internet connection risk because of the situation when if there's a safety car or something. But obviously the two drivers his teammates with are from Finland, so it'll be quite late there, so it's possible they've gone to bed and that he's driving the rest of the race. At least for Maki Hoimala, or however you say his name. I'm not going to get into the whole business of trying to pronounce Finnish people's names. I have enough problems with that.
Oh my god, that gets me so... I remember, do you remember the first attempt of Chris Ford to pronounce Matti's name and Mikko's name?
Mikko Merilito, I think it was the...
that was hilarious.
And Wenchavi.
I think didn't he? Well, out of well, obviously not unintentionally, but intentionally. I think he once or a couple of times called him French Fari or something in Super GT. I think back in the day, GT 300 cars were apparently cool, which they now are no longer.
Yeah, you know that Super GT, the replays I uploaded are actually some of the most watched videos on my channel on YouTube. The problem with that is they are also the most disliked videos.
Because of all the people crashing in them.
No, because of all the people who thought we would be covering real Super GT.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, that's why I don't upload any replays of GT Masters.
That plus the fact you have no commentary.
Well, I could do post-race commentary.
Plus the fact that you've got no internet.
Well, per leader in the pits. Virus changing their Evo Star tires for the penultimate time.
There's going to be an interesting point at probably during this stint, there's going to be an S3ID timeout again that they're going to have to overtake Virez on track. Obviously, it's not for position because they're going to have to pit again, but
It's full position, but not really full position.
yeah.
Reminds me of...
that would be an important move if they want to have a chance of possibly catching them in this race. And Nicky's known for hard defending, so that might be interesting.
Unless someone puts him in the wall.
Well, that would work quite well for 3ID. You know? Sudden lag spike.
I think you know exactly how I
Nicky
meant
and my
that.
3ID.
Yeah, because there's no history there, is there?
No, not at all.
Tomek definitely had some nice words to say about his old teammate on the forum.
Another instance of grass lapping, great. By my own team this time. Yeah, the history. You know, Isaac, last season in GT1 World Series, you know, we never predicted that there would be a crash between you and Nicky. I think that was a total surprise to us.
Yeah, I never got a sinking feeling in my stomach anytime I was behind him. It was just like, I'm going to hit him.
Oh dear.
Something is going to happen right now.
It was just the most obvious crash waiting to happen I've ever seen, to be honest.
The cruel thing about it was the feeling that we actually made the right prediction.
Although we apparently upset Michael Passingham because we said there would be a crash because people have history.
At least that was
I therefore apologise to Michael Passingham. I'm sorry.
At least that was like the low point of my GT1 World Series season, crashing into Nicky once.
That's just a wonder.
Yeah, crashing into Nicky.
It can't be the worst moment ever.
And then 2 steering wheel failures. Miko span like 3 times. It was a good race.
Well, after the race,
Yeah.
we thought, oh dear, it was such a bad race from you guys, but you still won it. Because everything what happened to you.
At least you didn't. You didn't feel sorry for me or for Jenna. Oh well, that's very kind of you.
You were pretty mad after that race.
What the what the hell would you expect me to be like?
Well,
6 hours in the car and 18 hours in the commentary booth.
You could have, just driven, 1 second faster over the whole race, and you would have finished. Was it 3rd?
Yeah, it was 3rd, but frankly, since we flipped out of the last race, I don't think it would have made a difference in the championship. If we were to use the number we deserved in quotations from GT1 World Series, we would have number 4, and well, we'd rather use number 9 really. Number 9 mainly because of when I changed it back to GT1 application, number 9 was the only single-digit number still available. But okay. Oh, we could fill the rest of the race time with antiques.
So guys, Dom, you're wrong. There is a number that's not taken that's single-digit. 1.
Which
1. Why don't you take 1? Why did you take that?
Why did I not take 1, Isaac? That is a very interesting question. Why don't you ask Deco about this? Maybe he has an interesting answer, which will not surprise you at all.
Maybe it's because NX Racing is not participating this year. The number 1 and the number 51 for both classes, since they're the defending GT1 and GT2 World Series champions. Number 1 for each class is reserved for NX. Or Lowland Lions, or Worldwide Racing, or whatever the hell they call themselves nowadays.
That's a shame. Why aren't NX participating? Oh wait.
Why aren't NX participating, Isaac? Tell us why aren't NX participating?
Anyway, Crassy's did the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sure Tomek will be raging right now.
No, it's okay because a red car did it.
Yeah, 200 faster than the fastest lap so far.
Won't be far away from a pit stop though.
Because Otto joins.
Oh yeah, obviously. I didn't even notice, but yeah. Be great. Gonna be a great bit of stint from him. Gotta drive till 3 AM his time.
Oh dear.
Quite late race for a 6-hour race. Usually that's, you know, the 18 UTC. That's that's round about when these races called IGTC started. Usually.
Don't they usually, for 6-hour race, wouldn't you usually start at like 4 or something?
I don't know. I'm
16
okay
UTC.
with it. You know, I'm okay with it, but that's only because I get up at 3 PM.
Yeah, obviously for the...
Oh no! And the flat tire for the number 9.
Just to explain to our viewers why he's shouting so loudly, that's his teammate.
And not only his teammate,
thank
but
you.
his car, actually. He drove...
Yeah. How far is he from the pits?
Oh!
No!
Don't hit that.
Oh no! Bloody wall! Balls to that! I was afraid he was gonna get a drive through. At least he nosed it into a wall, so damage.
That'll give the position to Free ID then. If there wasn't any doubt already.
That took about half a year of my life expectancy. Which means now I'll only be 23 when I die.
This is the visual explanation.
Oh, and the takeover failed! They didn't take over! Oh dear, that's gone well.
Yeah, silence.
Oh dear, my nerves. I think I'm just gonna like fall over and never say anything again in one of these races. Isaac.
Yes.
Yeah, you can confirm that I never bolstered up any takeovers, right?
Yeah. Definitely never happened. I think the first one was you didn't give the car to Boothie.
Yeah, I did give the car to Boothie.
In the first ever race that I did with you. My first ever GTR endurance race, that is. And then, Fern Bay, you didn't realise I had joined the server to take the car over.
That one was good. That was good.
And then, BL1R in GT2 World Series, you were AFK taking...
I was on the toilet when I was meant to take over the car.
Whoops.
Which led to us losing the race because it was a safety car fest in the second stint.
Oh come on! It's like I can predict the future. It would have been half as bad if my bloody brake pedal wasn't sticking on the whole time.
A good driver never blames his equipment.
Well, a better driver does. Ha!
Says the guy who's got a new steering wheel.
Well, yeah, you've got a new steering wheel, exactly.
Yeah, that was kind of my point.
Yeah, I just noticed.
Free ID are only 7 seconds behind Virez right now, and they both only have to stop again, but Free ID will obviously have to stop quite a bit before Virez.
Seems like watching Free ID just now. Seems like the most of the top cars in GT1 are running very similar wings, which is what you would expect by now in LFS, but still not exactly one of the overused tracks for GT1s.
Yeah, well, a track like Westhill, if you add like just even a little bit more wing, you lose so much time on the straights that
Yeah, it's true.
you can get away with like maybe adding like 1 click extra front wing, but you can't add like 1 front and rear wing over a set that, as long as it feels good, then it'll be faster.
Oh, talking about front and rear, how about we move to front and rear damage? And one of the front and rear damage champions at the moment is the 14 car of Scuderia Gas, who have quite a remarkable amount of left front damper damage, if you ask me.
I guess that's just from coming off the curve in the second sector, the chicane.
Pretty much, yeah.
It seems weird that it's been that at least the teams that have mentioned it and had issues with it, the FZRs. I don't know, Dom, did you have any issues with damper damage that you had to sort of tune out of the sets? Because I remember having an issue with that in when I was doing GT2 here in XRR, but
honestly,
it's obviously a lot faster.
When I did, when I did the first GT Masters season last year here, and there was a race here, it was round 3, and I did about a quadrillion stint. I did notice I did get damper damage, and I tuned that out of a set, but we didn't use that setup as a base setup. We used the setup from no one lesser than Niki Dakovic as a base setup, and we have a slight problem with the damper damage there on the left front. If you really just completely ignore the fact that there's a curb, but otherwise it's usually fine. I'm not really sure why so many people are having the problem, because
From my experience as well.
yeah.
From my experience as well, that if you take, like, there's a point where you don't really gain time by taking more curb, and I think a few people are actually just taking a bit too much of the curb. It doesn't gain them anything and causes the damage. Because I mean, there's only so much you can do with the setup. If you take too much curb, then you'll always get damage no matter what.
Especially because you can't run one of these spongy Fernbane no bump damping setups here, because that would be absolutely ludicrous. Yeah, to be honest, my kind of general rule is if the green stuff on the curb and the chicane, that's the stuff you should be on. Anything that's dirt, you shouldn't be on. At least in the GT1. In the GT2, I usually take it, a bit straighter line through there, but in a GT1, you really don't want to compromise yourself, because you gain so little time from it. In relative terms.
It was always a corner I found quite tricky, because I generally drive quite over the front wheels, and in that corner, if you do that, you get like a lot of understeer. You just understeer wide, and you can't carry the same speed as someone who can sort of flick it in a bit better. They can carry a bit more speed through that corner.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorite corners, I'll be honest. The first sector here I really like. In practice I really enjoyed the first sector, because it's probably because I like low speed more than high speed, it's probably more suited to be a second and third sector I could do without. Yeah, obviously you can't really do much with well, you gotta adapt to what you're given, to the car and track conditions you're given, and but at the end that determines how you're gonna do. There are really no excuses, because it's not like in LFS there are things that are impossible to avoid. I'm yet to find one.
As well at Westhill, the curbs generally behave the same every lap, so Kyoto you can sort of be forgiven if you get a bit of damper damage or camber damage. It happens, but at Westhill it sort of behaves the same every lap, so
Yeah,
Car
the
71, that's again
Scuderia Gas.
Racing team. Yet again.
Oh no! No!
And may I say that this is the fourth penalty?
Oh dear.
Tercera vez Inter, whatever that means. But this will be a costly sentence. Let's ask Google Translator.
To Esperanto, that always gives the best result. Yeah, that's certainly a drive-through for 71.
A double drive-through.
So,
Okay, there will be only one penalty for both.
I think in if I'm not wrong, in the general rule books, which is would be embarrassing if I'm wrong because I've written them. I think that would be a stop-go because it would be 2 drive-through offences close in succession, which would be a stop-go. But not like they care, because it's not.
Third time Inter, Google Translator says me.
Third time Inter, so they're on their third set of Inters.
They are actually playing a crossover between Jeep. Race Control has the interesting idea that it was a failed try to save the replay.
That's how I got a warning for chat in City League. I tried to save the replay. Oh no, wait, that's chat. Damn.
The good thing about City League in this aspect is that you have got one shot free.
Yeah, and I was only doing that one race anyways, because I commentated the rest of the season, but
True.
still. Which was also not a great race, because I fell off the track, like about half the grid in the same corner a couple of races later, which was probably the most hilarious sight I've ever seen.
It was such a great scene. It was.
Just have to imagine AS5R, the last corner, this parabolica-like corner, a field of NGT cars, and half of them just follow each other off into the gravel trap for no obvious reason whatsoever. I think there was wind, but the wind wasn't that strong.
It was just surprising. Suddenly on lap 2 there was wind. That's the crazy thing about it. It was not on lap 1.
It wasn't on lap 1, it was on lap 2, yes. But okay.
The best thing about it was the speechlessness of the admin, because I was adminning grid 3 and I'm in contact with the other 2 admins of the other grids, and he couldn't believe what he saw.
I was commentating, I didn't know where all the bloody cars had gone.
I remember some race in his LFSL, Westhill, and I think I was going into the chicane there. I was third going in, and I missed the corner because of the wind, and I exited the corner first. That was quite funny.
You did OLFSL?
I did one race, yeah. I think it was LFSL. I did it because it was Westhill and Jarno Laihinen was driving. I didn't really practice, but I did a pre-quali time, and then when he got to the race, I was like, oh, okay, I'll race. And yeah. I think pretty much everyone just sort of imploded, and I just managed to not crash and just about won. But yeah, wind plus open wheel plus Westhill, not a good combination.
Yeah.
Westhill, wait a second. You and Westhill.
Hey,
We did the same thing in Honor.
Yeah, where's Simon Cattell when you need him?
we still have discussions over whose fault that was.
Barack Obama.
It was Simon's fault for not being Prost enough.
Yeah, if he just hadn't changed his tyres, you know, he would have been ahead of me and there'd be no problems.
I only remember that race not for your crash, but for my idiocy. When I was sick on the final lap and I spun in the last sector and lost 2 places. Oh, that hurt. That was really not my season. That was really not my season. 2011 LFS card, no thanks. Don't need that again.
The worst racing moment for me was an iRacing, one of the public races there, with the Pontiac Solstice at Okayama.
It's called Slowstis.
Slowstis, whatever. I led the race because I landed in the bottom tier, so I was for once the fastest of everyone on the server. And then on the last lap, just after that double right-hander on for the shortcut, I timed out.
That's quite an achievement. I remember the only time I timed out an Elephant Cart Lite was because my dad downloaded an update for Windows Media Player.
Oh dear.
That hurts. Oh no! It wasn't media. It was in the Internet Exploder. Internet Exploder. That's what it was.
You
Yeah,
need to get your parents sim racing trained. You gotta make sure they know not to go and mess around with your internet during races and stuff.
And that's what I've done since. I just didn't do it then because, well, it wasn't over. You know, that's when I joined the Winter Series.
Spin!
Oh! Nicky Spania, Nicky's around, and that means 3ID leads for now. But they lead for now.
Yeah.
So Thilo, did you put the curse on Nicky Dakovic? You're like, oh, he's their most stable driver.
But maybe someone
someone
put him in a wall.
I tried to tell you.
I think that was...
I hate to say I told you so, but I told that Byron shouldn't put him in.
Wasn't I saying that he's quite a consistent driver and he knows what he's doing?
You did.
It was obviously due to contact with 04 Bartolotta.
Oh dear.
So maybe
They two actually came together.
Maybe he's taken over my role in LFS. I'm not there to crash into Nicky anymore, so someone else has to do it.
Does anyone of you speak Italian? Because he's Italian. Someone
Sadly,
from the
no.
deep Italian community, I guess.
I can't think of anyone who speaks Italian.
I remember there was once a very strong Italian community, but it was
There once was a very strong German community. What happened to that?
Once there was a very strong Finnish community. Oh wait, that still exists.
that's because of MTV.
The best thing is the German community. They decided. Oh well. Apparently things are shit because we say so, and therefore they killed themselves. They killed themselves through lack of updates or lack of interest, just lack of intelligence. Or ESL is not pro, or ESL Pro Series doesn't have LFS anymore. Oh no, the world's gonna end.
Yeah, and I remember after that, Nylan was changing to Need for Speed because it was suddenly an ESL Pro title.
Need for Speed Shift or something?
But it's going to
Back
be
then,
No,
it
it was before Shift, though. Yeah.
Let's change the subject back to the racing though. It's going to be quite interesting between 3ID and Varese now.
Nah.
R2 needs to sort of open up as much of a gap as he can to give Tomek a chance to hold off Varese or be close enough to repass them again in the final stint, because Varese will be faster in theory once they pit. But to be honest, looking at their pace, Tomek was actually matching them during that phase. So, but obviously Varese's pit stop will be shorter, but that spin was not what they needed.
No, certainly not.
They had the race sort of under control until that happened.
They told Nicky what we said about him, and he got his dander up and spun.
Well, the only thing I can say about this is that there was suddenly yellow flag in turn 7 from Nicky.
Suddenly saw a green car backwards. That's all I saw.
Yeah, green car backwards today. That's really a problem because there are so many green cars.
That's why we don't have a green car. We want to be cool because red is like the bestest color there is in the universe.
Okay. But since I'm logged in with the admin password, I see that little message popping up saying contact between 02 and 04. So maybe a mistake on the lapping,
it seems, or getting laps back or whatever.
I don't think Bartolotta was in a position to get laps back. Just pace-wise. Oh well.
He's actually going, like, his last lap was pretty fast.
Yeah.
He might have. He's further into his stint than Varese. I did check the remote, and I did see that, I can't remember, but I think he was behind him. So he might have just tried to repass him and Nicky didn't want him to and turned in anyway, and yeah, maybe that's what happened, but no idea.
I'm gonna tell you something. Today is the first time I actually see the turn 1 runoff area being used.
Really, I remember having a turbo trophy race when there was wind, and I think I used it about 5 or 6 times during that race.
That can't have been turbo trophy. I mean, World TBO Championship Series Challenge Cup Championship World Championship by Realistic NASCAR, powered by Renault and Weetabix. Who knows?
Yeah, me and Nicky definitely made a good effort to make it exactly like NASCAR during that season.
NASCAR.
I don't think we had a single race all season where we didn't make contact with each other at some point during the race.
Speak that for any race you two did.
When we race each other on track, yeah, but in most things, we don't usually race each other that often.
My 3ID already 57 minutes into their stint.
By the way, at the run... Oh, someone's going a little bit on the way. That's 88. That's 4th in GT2. Some reason it's apparently interesting that Iron Club is pitting. Although I have to give Iron Club the platinum medal in being kind when being lapped, because I don't think... I think they were like one of 2 teams I didn't have a problem with while I was driving.
Actually, looking at the pace that 3ID are doing right now, they must be backing off trying to make their tyres last. Now IMO's just connected to the server. They're not going to have to pit before the hour mark, are they?
Well, if they do, that'd be a pretty
big. That'd be a pretty.
Looking at their tyres, they've easily got.
Car out of fuel first chicane.
14, I believe.
That's 14, yes.
That'll definitely be a safety car because they're not moving.
not moving, and how the hell would they get to pit lane from there?
One of those unfortunate situations. That really plays into that's really going to play into 3ID and Infinity's hands, because they're the only teams that have been running competitive pace that have been able to make the hour mark in GT1. So teams that can't are really hard done by that.
And the pit lane is flooded by cars.
I mean, it's going to be so much slower to make a pit stop. Surely anyone who can get remotely close has just got to go for it and just back off and drive slow. It's not often that happens, it's surprising, but it's definitely going to spice up the race for the last hour. Apparently the host is full, so
That's why I disconnected from the server.
and due to my amazing and brilliant keyboard issue, I can't leave the server right now. Otherwise I would be. Hint, hint.
That's thrown pretty much everyone's strategy out of the window.
Except for 3ID, who are about to pit anyway.
Still a busy pit lane. Taking a look at the rescue car pushing that car stranded. While the other cars are passing. And if I see it correctly, Infinity is behind Jenna. Just some first looks at it via a very stuttering team viewer directly to the streaming host. Here is the safety car with my 3ID directly behind them.
Obviously they're gonna wave through. No, obviously they won't be waved through because they're the leaders, aren't they?
I think so.
It'd be very peculiar if they win the race.
Free idea leaders. If that's what you're talking
Because the last time a car that wasn't leader on the server but leader overall won the race was GTL 2011 in the season 2010 in the season finale.
about. GT2 World Series FE4.
That doesn't count because it was you.
Also happened in the 24-hour TBO race. Hint, hint. That was also me.
Doesn't count as well because it was you. Last time I remember was GTAL, therefore it counts.
I think I should take that as a compliment that you just blank out any race that I win.
But I didn't. Did I do well in any races you were in before in front of me? Oh yeah, that Arctic Cup race at KY2R like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but I didn't win that race.
That was okay. Yeah, you didn't win, but you were in front of me, so that's okay.
How many races have you done in LFS where that you are ahead of me though?
A lot of LFS kart races.
yeah, that would be true. But then again, I don't think I've ever done an FO8 race without spinning at some point. So.
Oh my god, that was just. I remember 2012 last year LFS kart. The first round I spun 3 times, still finished 5th. God knows how.
Yeah.
Thanks to Nathan Lamoff, I did a fastest lap.
The way you blank out races that I win, I blank out LFS kart races. They never happen.
What is LFS card? I don't know.
It doesn't exist anymore. It's gone.
Didn't Ronnie Krompus win it this year?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
I think so.
Just pretend it never happened.
So Stumaker, after 5 hours, nearly, he's again behind the wheel.
It'd be too much to ask for there to be an LFS race without a safety car.
No, because all Gen R races don't have safety cars.
Because they don't have safety cars. Except for the start.
It's a pace car, not a safety car. Or as the FIA GT1 World Championship called it, a leading car. Which is leading for exactly a lap. And then pisses off back into the pits.
You can call it Derny, like in cycling. Where you have these
cycling, who needs
motorbikes.
that full of doping nubs?
Well, this discipline where you have a bunch of motorcycles running in front of bikes.
If I was on one of those, I would say, ha ha ha, you have to pedal to go forward, nub. Our fellow Irishman Timo Hinanen got a drive-through penalty.
Can I just ask something?
Yes.
Is the A Troller guy Morgan's brother?
I think so, yes.
Wow. See someone new every time I come on LFS.
The worst thing is, if you're ignorant and you cannot pronounce names, he's called a trolley.
That's mean.
That's very mean, but unfortunately it's true.
Rule 39, there's no such thing as coincidence.
What? You think his parents were like, oh, if you call him with A, he's gonna be called a trolley. That's a good one.
He's like, LLM are doing good in this race. Let's end the race now before it all goes wrong. Please.
Well, for once, if we had a red flag, Jenna wouldn't win.
Yeah, that's true. Although, so far in this race, Yessi Telqua has defied logic and hasn't crashed yet, so there's still time for LLM to win.
I remember. Huh? Why is he pushing him through pit lane? What's going on with 14? Better not comment on this because I'll get in trouble. Did not set to refuel.
Why is 6 following them? Not 6, 25.
Because they don't know any better.
There we go.
The guest driver of LLM. I must say...
In my opinion, though, if you get pushed back to the pits and then still do not refuel, that's your own fault. You should be out of the race. To be honest,
that's what they did, apparently.
To be honest, though, if you run out of fuel on track, you should be out of the race. Like, that's your own fault. You shouldn't be pushed back to the pits. You know, if you roll, you're out of the race. And to be honest, running out of fuel is even stupider than rolling.
You know, I remember, I think it was Le Mans 05, and a certain Audi driver who apparently was quite experienced at the time, Frank Bieler, maybe some of you have heard of him. He was lapping a car on the pit entry at Le Mans, and therefore he couldn't get into the pit, and he ran out of fuel, and that was his team's race. That was Audi Sport UK's race. Running out of fuel. Which is, yeah.
I remember a Champ Car race, and Champ Car had this rule that you never ever enter pit lane under caution, at least on the first lap not. And I remember that Paul Tracy just came around the final corner, was just before the pit lane entry, and they turned to yellow. And they were so short of fuel.
I would have pitted anyways. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, usually you would.
What team was he driving for?
Players.
Foresight. Well, but they were powerful enough. I would have bloody told off the race director for that.
Yeah, but still. Well,
it was actually in the time when Players at Foresight was a good team. But actually, well, on the other side, I wouldn't have done it for Paul Tracy.
Even better was
the best one running out of fuel. You know, ADAC GT Masters, they have two equal length races.
Yeah.
I remember at the Red Bull Ring, was it this year or last year? One of the Callaway Corvettes ran out of fuel with 10 minutes to go in the second race. How stupid do you have to be as a team to not fill enough fuel into the car for the second race when it's the same amount you need for the first race?
Dom, since you are more prepared than I am, what are the wave around rules here?
I have no idea.
That's a good starter.
I don't understand them, and I think safety cars destroy endurance races. I am now gonna be kicked from this broadcast. Goodbye, everyone. Oh, no, but I really don't know. I really don't know the endurance rules. I mean, I really don't know the wave around rules.
Okay.
Next time we'll be like, yeah, I don't know the wave around rules because I'm in a good team and we don't get that.
That's what you said. I never said that.
It was what you were gonna say.
Your mind.
At least
Well-
it works way better than other wave rounds I have witnessed in the past.
Best wave around not wave around, but someone trying to catch up with the safety car queue was Montoya in NASCAR when someone broke on his car and he crashed into that track sweeping thingy and everything blew up. That was the best one I've seen.
Yeah. That track blower thingy.
Oh no, wait, there's not meant to be a massive ball of fire during the safety car. Oh yes, that's what it's called. Oh dear, restart this lap. This lap. Lot of cold tires. For everyone. Overtaking before start finish, but someone is gonna challenge that anyways. So we get ready for restart number 1 of hopefully 1.
Technically number 2, but well.
There never was a start, so.
Right.
The leader's gone well already.
Welcome to the 1 hour of Westhill.
Basically what it is now, yes. Well, for the
Krasny
top
even
3.
right behind Niki Dakovic. The second place.
Really right behind.
Nicky just barely warmed his tyres at all. It doesn't have any grip whatsoever, it looks like.
Now to see if Krasny can do anything about Tomek in front of him.
First there are cars to be lapped.
Oh,
And
and
they're
cars that
battling
are
as
going
well.
off and battling, yes.
Lost a lot of time from that. Now Kovacs is on Niki as well as he's struggling with his cold tyres.
But he goes off in the draft and Bartolotta gets around him. Some tyres even remind me of that great red flag restart we had last season in GT1 World Series in the round 1, when everyone was stationary for about 3/4 of an hour.
Bartolotta and Niki reloaded? Question mark.
If he spins him again, I think Nicky is not going to have very kind words about him. If he spun him, that is. Because otherwise, I have to say allegedly, because otherwise I'm probably going to be thrown out.
I'm speaking with Artu Yolastalo right now, and he seems to think it was a green FZR that hit him, and he thinks it was Krampus, but...
Drive-through penalty for Bartolotta.
So
For the spin with car 2. Or for the spin off car 2 rather. Getting that drive-through penalty now is probably a massive penalty compared to usual.
Krasny took a couple of attempts out of Tomek that lap, so if he can make it to the end, we should have a battle for the lead at some point.
Technically the long safety car period should have helped.
Yeah, exactly. Although you do still wear your tyres while you're going behind the safety car, it's a lot less. So,
Bartolotto to the inside. And he's around Nicky.
so once again, the curse of the commentator, you know, saying how he's experienced and doesn't even heat his tyres up in it. If we have an interview with him, I'll make sure that he knows that it's your fault, not his.
What? Whose fault? Mine?
Yeah, you put a commentator's curse on him.
Well, I'm very good about it. I remember. I think my very first commentator's curse was in Super GT at that Aston Cup circuit, which is probably the most hateful open config I've ever driven on. Oh no, wait, it was your team at the time, Isaac. Although not your car. Spudo, yes. Who were driving like bastards, and it was Renault Coots who just took the lead in GT300, and I was like, oh well, can he keep it? He just to do is not make a mistake now, and about 5 seconds later he threw it off the road.
That's very typical Renault Coots.
You know better than me.
I remember having to tell him how to change his arbs to a stint whenever I drove with him.
I guess my most famous commentator's curse was in that one Kia 500. Where Fragmaster team tried to do a one-stopper with no tire change, if I remember it correctly. The outcome of it was that I said, I hope they don't crash, and the next moment the tire popped and 2 of the Fragmaster cars were out.
Fragmaster and a Kia 500, that's a whole new chapter we're trying to enter here in the commentary booth.
Luckily I don't have any commentator's curses yet, seeing as this is my first time. Losing my commentary with virginity right here.
But you're very close to Telkler for the lead in GT2.
Oh, so maybe he will lose it, and then he'll have a crash, and I will have put a curse on him because I said that would happen.
And you will troll him for it for like 2 weeks on Skype.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he will make sure that we don't forget that one. He still trolls me that he outqualified me twice in GTN. Even though he finished like 30 seconds behind me every time.
I'm gonna tell you, the best thing I have ever seen him do in GTM was when he dive bombed in the hairpin at Fernway and he flipped another car.
Yeah. He dive bombed Malco Max into the Westhill chicane as well, which is pretty good.
Oh yeah, that happened too.
Speaking of Malcolm Max, he just served his drive-through penalty.
I bet he's gonna be cheery. Thing is, in GT2, you know, it's more of a race to the end, because obviously those guys can all go 1 hour. But they don't have to worry about their tires and fuel at all. They just have to worry about where they are at the end.
Throughout the night, I got various leg spikes of the Polish people, except for our Imel. He's the only one without.
That's actually true. He's the only one I didn't have any lag spikes on either. The funny thing is, Conquest, the Conquest 07 car, the XR, has also passed Nicky now. So they're in 3rd now overall at the moment.
Yes, they are.
Majora is very close to Yessi Telkla right now. Apparently they're struggling with, well, their car feels weird, like damage or something. I can't personally check because my keyboard isn't working. Do they have any damage?
They've got a little bit of left front damper, a little bit of upper lower wishbone damage on the left front, and a hair width of wishbone damage on the left rear.
It's nothing that should really be dramatically changing it. It's possible maybe they're bottoming out or something, I don't know. Because it's very weird how they had such good pace at the start of the race and now they're really struggling to hold off the others for the lead of the race. It's possible the fact that it's quite late there might be affecting things as well.
I never know. You know, when I got in the car, I thought it would be a piece of cake. Car felt like it was all over the place. Felt like I was trying to drive in full wet in the dry.
Oh, and Major.
Oh my god! Is that for position with Troller?
No.
No, it's not. Okay, then they're lucky. The next car behind them is SR. Or SR, if you prefer.
They are in.
A couple of cars back, aren't they?
Yeah, and they are in the middle of of something.
They are actually, those three are actually the only lead lap cars in GT2, or their Corpus is actually a lap back in an 88 Iron Club car. But I think, you know, we're really looking at a race to the flag, because I think the safety car period was easily long enough to just equal everything to being a 50-minute sprint, really.
Major actually recovered from his mistake, though he's not quite into the slipstream yet.
For some reason, all the skid marks that had been laid previously in the race just disappeared for me, and now they're laying new skid marks. Which came from at 77 cars, left front, right front tire.
That's
through
annoying.
turn 1. They suddenly just disappear and you're like, what?
This didn't happen when you're driving.
It doesn't happen when you're driving, but when you're spectating, you just randomly disappear and you're like,
For me, it also happens when I'm driving. It's
That's
massively.
that's why I use racing now.
oh, is that why you like open configs so much?
No. The reason I like OpenConfig so much is because I have usually had bad computers, so... But now that wouldn't be an issue for me if I played LFS, so... The only issue now for me playing LFS is the slight Pro Series issue that slightly clashes with every single LFS race.
Because it's every week.
Yeah.
That's kind of a problem. They really expect you to just do that series and no other one, do they? Don't they? I mean...
Yeah, well...
kind of quite arrogant from them, really.
To be honest, even if they spaced it out more, people would still only do that series. It's just in our racing, it's a lot harder to sort of drive lots of different cars. I mean, some people do it, but you usually end up being fairly decent in everything. Whereas in LFS, you can be sort of really good in everything.
Except if you're me, then you're good in everything except Westhill.
This just reminds me that I shockingly had seen a couple of days ago on Motors TV one of the races of, I think it was this all-star race of iRacing being broadcasted on Motors TV.
Yeah. One of my teammates won that, I think.
You mean the NASCAR one?
No, it was like an oval. It was like the top 20 oval and road guys. They did like an oval and a road race to see who would win overall, I think. But it obviously ended up being sort of like oval guys plus a couple of road guys doing the oval race, and then the road guys plus a couple of oval guys doing the
basically
road
proved
race.
nothing at all.
Yeah. Especially
How
seeing as
surprising.
especially seeing as the fastest road guys didn't actually drive, so. Or at least like Gregor Hoot, who didn't drive.
Well, but he would win anyways, even if Hugo Lewis is 2 seconds behind him, Isaac, don't you know? PSR TV knows it all.
Yeah, good that PSR TV is no longer.
Well, they still exist, but they don't do the road coverage.
But God, still don't watch it, because frankly all it is just a massive crash at the start. And then lots of cars going around for about an hour and a half.
From time to time, I think there is how is it called? That one German guy of my 3ID is commentating.
Do you mean
on
Marius
Glacier.
Golombek?
Marius
He's not
He's not in 3ID anymore.
No, he doesn't
He is.
commentate either, I don't think.
Well,
Usually Will Vincent and someone else who I can't remember the name of.
He isn't in my 3ID. Why did he drive from my 3ID in that virtual racing race?
He left fairly recently, I think.
Ah, okay. So I might
Like a
have...
month or something.
Oh,
No,
well.
more than that, but a couple of months, yeah.
Couple of months. Wait a second.
Oh, Major is definitely close enough for a slipstream, but not where he wants it.
The key now for Yessi is just to not make any mistakes and just stay smooth and make Major have to actually pass him, because it's hard to overtake, and plus as well you would have imagined that, you know, LLM aren't usually in this sort of positions, so as long as he makes Major do the work, it's going to put a lot of pressure on him to...
Maybe he's gonna
know.
get dive bombed in a chicane.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Major's off! Major's thrown it off the road! And that's that chance gone for good, perhaps.
So there's my first ever commentary curse right there. Maybe Major was told, you know, to remember that they need the points.
Jesse is faster than you.
I was thinking more Sergio Perez in Malaysia 2012.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, your team has the engines from Ferrari. You better not win. Didn't care at Monza though, did he? It wasn't for the window, was it? Actually, I just remembered. Who won Monza last year?
Hamilton.
Oh yeah, him, because the car didn't break down for once.
Monza last year was the only race where Mercedes was in reach of something. Simply
But only because they had absolutely no grip, but they had all the top speed.
Yeah, I remember Schumacher being faster than Hamilton with DRS.
Wasn't that 2011?
That was 2011 actually.
That was
yeah.
2011.
Yeah.
Aww.
And when
I
Hamilton
remember.
tried to pass him, and then Button came, and he was like, I'll pass him," and then did it. Hamilton was like, "Please."
I remember at Spa with Schumacher and Kimi, he couldn't pass him unless he had DRS and was in front of him. Otherwise, Schumacher would just repass him every single time.
Reminds
Even though
me a
Schumacher
bit.
was on old tyres.
You know what I loved. Well, I hate modern F1 because I think it's a disgrace to humanity. But
So you
Oh,
go
someone's
from
turning
loving
out.
to hate him.
yeah, but I'm just want to say what I loved. You know, back in like 01, 2000, 2001, when you had people like Arrows who built the car that would work on high-speed tracks like nothing else in the world compared to usual, and then on all other tracks it would just be awful.
So you mean like Force India in 2009 then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
except they didn't do it as well. Well, actually, no,
Oh,
they did it better.
Toth is off, and Bertoni is off.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Whoa. There's someone trying to avoid carnage.
Barlotta
That's,
is off.
Barlotta is off.
Oh dear, I bet he'll be pleased about that one.
Free ID seems to have the race under control right now. It looks like Ivanov had to back off a bit to sort of try and preserve his tyres a little bit.
It actually looks like the winners of both classes are expectable. Let's put it that way. Not that I curse anyone. Again.
True, but I mean, with Core struggling a bit with the damage, that can cause inconsistent times as well. If he starts to lose concentration or thinks that he's got it under control, that's when the mistakes will happen, and it only takes one mistake for it to be back on again. I mean, the gap's only like 3.5 seconds. That's closable still. You wouldn't expect it, but it's not impossible.
Well, we're gonna get to the point where the GT1s are gonna be lapping again, so anything can happen.
In our thread about this race on Alpha's forums, on the general discussion, GT World Series 2014 Run broadcast live 26th of October, Jack the Master has answered. So now it's going to be very interesting because LFS thinks Ivanov is leading, but he isn't. That's the main problem of it. We're going to have an administration-based finish. The question is what this is going to be exactly. How it's going to look like, but the teams are told to race until they are notified to not continue.
They should have plenty of fuel.
yeah, I mean, they were all fueled for 1 hour and then spent 15 minutes under the safety car straight away.
Imol is now overtaking Major. So
That'll
occasion.
probably cost him a bit of time, and it's going to be good for Yessi that they've already passed on the straights, so... Yeah, Major's lost about 3/10 so far this lap because of that. And also Troller, who's not actually racing the position, but he's actually he's actually going faster than the leader, and it's going to give Yessi a difficult choice whether he needs to let him through or not. But if he does let him through, it will cost him about half a second at least. So, and if he doesn't, it will surely cost him time looking in his mirrors.
Thing is, yeah, exactly. If he can live with him being behind him, but the thing is, can he live with him being in front of him? Unless he pulls away, it could possibly be an issue.
You would have thought he won't pull away fast enough to not be an issue. I agree.
Just thought there was a stationary car at split 2, and it's actually the rescue car.
But to be honest, though, when you actually look at Vires' position, Trolley doesn't really have anything to gain by passing unless it's
that's the thing as well.
Unless it's another safety car, but then surely he would have been waved around. So I don't understand how he's.
If it goes on at that rate, if there's another safety car, then we might finish under.
Wait. He's been waved around, and yet he's then caught the leader. That's surely pretty impressive. Or Deco forgot to wave him around.
I remember Deco really managed to rave around very well during the red flag in GT1 World Series in the opening round. That was so great. About half the grid ended up in the wrong position.
I can't see what's being typed, but I'm going to imagine Deco's mad now that I implied that he possibly didn't get it right.
Well, Deco said, a thing. I bet you did. I bet you double checked it. I bet you did. Maybe in 2 weeks' time it's gonna turn out that Stuart Baker's actually the winner of this race.
Well, Stuart always deserves some extra medal. Or
Troller is now alongside Yessi. They made contact, I think, didn't they?
Dear.
Yessi held him behind though, but
Yo's not exactly far now. He wasn't before, but still isn't.
Krasi Ivanov is coming up to lap those two now, so
he's gonna get unlucky there. He's gonna have to wait till the power bend. Also quite crazy how much more top speed you can gain just from draft. I think I did 276 earlier when I had a draft once. Well, that wasn't from a GT1 obviously, but still. It's just about 8 kph faster than you would usually go.
Major caught half a second that lap, and Yessi is once again having to defend from Trolley. He really should possibly just let him go, because it's going to end in a crash, or he's just going to lose time. I don't really understand why he's battling him. I mean, now's the time to let him go, before Major catches them. I think that's what's going to happen now. But another complication to their race.
They really tried to lose it lately. They did everything to win it in the first couple of hours, and now it seems to have gone down the drain relatively.
Let's see how much. Yeah, Major has taken 1.2 seconds out of Yessi this lap, so the race is definitely back on between those two.
Almost 1.3 seconds, you can say, on the whole lap.
Yes, seems to be losing quite rapidly. Now there's the next overlapping being done with Gablowski trying to get around the GT2 leader.
That will surely cost him a bit of time through that corner. Even if it doesn't physically, it would. Just by having another car in front of you is a bit distracting there.
And we're down to
The gap.
about
Yeah,
1 second.
Yep, he took another half second out of him that lap, so...
I have this strange bug. That
Would this be
braking.
the first sort of major league race that LM have won? I would have thought it is, but...
Oh,
I mean, I've seen Major run sort of near the front of various sort of fun events, like, you know, the Christmas event and stuff like that,
yeah.
but...
Maybe Dom can tell us.
Tell you what.
Would it be the first major league race for LLM?
Well, if you don't count the M class, if you don't count the M class in GT2 and GT1 World Series, then yes.
So there would be something unique, something new, something that's never been there before.
71 is in the pits. Well, that's quite a badly timed pit stop.
For Scuderia Gas Racing Team.
Not exactly had the most joys of days in both classes.
It went okay, but then
the race happened.
then the race happened, yeah. At least they weren't 11 times in pit lane like Last Lap Motorsport 72 was.
What's the pit stop count at the moment?
11.
Oh, it's 11, okay.
That's what I mean. Oh, Pardo spins out of pit lane.
Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, where has he gone? Oh, on the grass.
He actually destroyed one of these.
Of the distance markers for
Yeah.
braking, so the other way. Those are mean. They have no use whatsoever. I don't even... Well, at least going that way, but I mean the other way, the last corner ones, they have a use, okay, but then you know the other ones in T11, in the Jason Lovett corner, what use do they have at all? I mean, I've never looked at those while driving either way.
And now
Who knows?
third place and fourth place are coming up to lap the GT2 leaders, so this could cause another potentially race-defining moment.
I think you'll find us 4th and 5th place.
Oh yeah, of course, because of free ID leading.
I wish it was 1st, 3rd and 4th, but
You would be,
Yeah.
you'd like that, wouldn't you?
I would like that, yes.
Looks like this time it's sort of favoured Yessi instead of Major.
Yeah, especially now at the end.
Les
Catching the
Kovacs
GT1s.
really compromises his line through turn 1, but
But
which he
now
does,
it's
which he
going to
does, which he
kill
does.
Jesse. And there we go.
Yep,
Mature.
and Major, there we go.
Put another commentator's curse on there.
There
So
you
side
did.
by side.
Congratulations, your rate of commentators' curses per minute is quite high.
And
Oh, and they've hit them! They make contact with them!
And from behind there comes a lagging Polish car.
Well, I don't think they care anything about them.
Well, it's a GT1 car, so
Yeah, that's why twice over they won't care.
they will care if they get leg crashed.
Like 57. Oh no, wait,
Yeah.
they leg crushed themselves, didn't they? They were the guys lagging this last time.
Yeah.
Or this time in the race, but last time like a couple of hours ago. Dominik resets fastest lap by 0.01.
I like how I was having a conversation with a free ID driver where they were saying they were nervous about the tyres and they were going to tell Tomek to back off, but it doesn't sound like
well,
he listened.
It's like Vettel's driving the car.
He's like, okay, I'll back off, just let me have
Back off, just let me have fastest lap. I'm gonna try to the last lap.
Braking's it off and in the gravel.
Well, he's sure he's in a thingy car. The rear engine one, the Yasuda.
Pussy car.
The rear
Pussy
engine.
wagon.
But yeah, yes, he's lost a lot of time to Major now. I think he's given up on that one.
So, lead change, 10 minutes to go.
After leading the whole race.
Yeah, especially after leading the whole race without a contender.
It reminds me of the PLM finish.
But they definitely can't say that it's because of the safety car though. I mean, yes, he's been their fastest driver in this race, and
he's just too slow at the moment.
yeah, they're winning it on pure pace.
Yeah, it reminds me of the PLM finish last weekend. And if you don't know what PLM is, Google Petit Le Mans, and then you'll know.
I was literally going to ask you what on earth PLM is.
Petit Le Mans, as I said. And Falcon Tires won GT in the Porsche. And I was like, oh my god, for the win, because I like Porsches. That's my entire life story.
Falcon Tires actually winning it is something.
They won before. Tracks where like no other tires work. Their
Yeah,
tires
and
work.
conditions and what.
Not just their conditions, they won at Baltimore before.
Baltimore.
Just the worst track known to mankind, but still they won there apparently. Or at least they were good.
That
I
one
know.
is gone.
Oh yeah, I'm happy it's gone from Tusk. Just funny because
Yeah.
now
Well, it's gone forever because no race. You know, not
what,
even
not
IndyCar.
even IndyCar. Lol, Baltimore, lol.
Because too much of financial.
I think IndyCar should race at Lime Rock Park. That'd be safer than Baltimore.
Well, IndyCars don't even race anymore at Sao Paulo.
Yeah,
The
but
street
that track wasn't. Lol, Ray Kings gets a drive-through penalty for something.
Speeding in the pit lane.
Speeding in the pit lane.
I believe Kovacs passed Dakovic for 4th place.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did.
We were too busy. Well, you were too busy, you know, just having a
Well,
random natter.
we did cover GT2 for quite a while.
Did cover GT2 in real life since it's GT and all.
I guess now the next thing to be watching for the rest of the race is the GT1 tyres. Who's going to make their tyres last and who isn't? Because everyone's going to be fairly
But
tight on that.
if it's 5 laps according to Deco, I think the top 2 are fine. Just
Kovacs should surely be fine as well. They were doing the longest stint of anyone earlier on in the race.
but apparently car 57 almost took off the leader overall, which would have been something to behold of. That's sorry.
That would have been the second time today the leader is going to get put off by someone else.
I mean, you say that you would have thought that Gen R will be fine, but didn't they have a puncture on like a 50-minute stint earlier on? So surely
Maybe.
now they're
Don't
trying
remind
to
them.
make...
I forgot about that.
I just don't want to, get you all excited and your hopes up, and then you be like crushingly disappointed.
I'll
rather-
just protest all the teams and then we'll get the win anyways.
LLM style.
Yeah. Just said that, I didn't say that.
Who's Ray King's going to have to protest in GT2 now to be able to get a win when they've already won?
Oh no, they
have to protest
could protest
themselves.
the rest of the grid to get the 1, 2, 3. Just have everyone excluded.
Seems like I'm all backed off.
I
His
think so.
last lap was 31.9.
Yeah, and I mean, that's even slower than that before, where he almost got crashed, so... It looks like he's losing the time in Sector 1, so he probably is just backing off on the braking zones to avoid sort of loading the tyres. Because, yeah, once again, another slow Sector 1, so... I mean, it's the smart thing to do, he's got the race in the bag, he just needs to make sure his tyres last. I mean, in the past, he has had some issues with sort of the tyres, so... Oh, Crassy's off. Yeah, so Gen R are down to 3rd place now.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Crassy made contact with someone in the chicane and went off. I saw it on remote.
It says there was contact with 57 Koreni who were about to take out Heimel just a few laps back. Maybe the late hour is not really helping as of now. Oh, and Nicky is again around.
Yeah, he's really past
Kovacs.
Kovacs. Missed that one.
There must have been a mistake by Kovacs because his last lap was a 31.7.
That could have just been when Nicky passed him though, because his lap before was a 31.1, so they're only losing 0.6, wouldn't be that bad. But now they're going to be coming up on Karani, so anything could still happen, folks.
Speaking of that, with exactly 1 minute to go, we're about to enter the last lap of the race, and I think that should be... Tire-wise, I don't see any problems coming up now.
Don't put the curse on it now, Thilo. Krasi might be in trouble if he got any flat spots.
Yeah, true.
But the way he went off, you would have thought he wouldn't have got any.
Flat spot Karani. Flat spot Karani. And he stays. Is it a flat spot or it must be?
If his tyres have got any heat in them right now, it must be a flat spot.
Anyways, this is going to be our race winner. Unless something happens on the next 3 corners.
These two GT2s battling right in front of him, so he needs to be a bit careful, but he's got
to the middle.
he's got no reason to push or try anything.
I don't understand why he slalom through them.
But yeah, he got away with it, and looks like he's won the race. A fine comeback drive after their early timeout. You sort of always expected they'd manage to find a way to get back into the race, but they ended up doing it fairly easily once the safety car favoured them, and Vairez's pace just seemed to drop off completely in the last stint.
Conquest is second. Ivanov is third.
Yeah, he finished 10 seconds behind in the end, only 4 ahead of Nicky, so I guess he did have some tyre issues towards the end of that race.
Maybe Nicky was too conservative in the try to conserve the tyres.
To be honest, I think the main problem was just that he didn't get the heat into his tyres at the start of the stint, and then he lost his rhythm, and it's so hard to get it back, especially when you're in a big group of cars, and you know if you make one mistake, you'll be off and you'll lose a couple more places. It's so easy just to be, half a second off your practice pace every lap.
There is Remco Major winning the first major race for Last Lap Motorsports.
Yes, he's holding on for second for core racing. Someone smiling happily about that result. Although I'm sure Deco will have some strong words to say about that, seeing as the chat had not yet been opened.
Yeah. And people are still racing here.
Including himself. Paul Manta crosses the line sideways.
So, this was the race. The final results. My3ID Gaming wins GT1 in front of Conquest Racing and Genuine Racing after this late accident in third position. Fourth is Virus, fifth Conquest, sixth Infinity Esports, seventh M5S, eighth Last Lap Motorsports, ninth Racing League Romania, 10th Race Green Autosports, 11th Asex Motorsport, and 12th is Scuderia Gas Racing. Oh, I read out the wrong tracker because it hasn't updated when I started to read it out. Of course, the podium is team. Okay, tracker will not be really right because it thinks LFS is right and not we. Okay, so there has to be something cut out. So the way I read it out was right. Good. In GT2, Last Lap Motorsports wins in front of Core Racing Sonograms, making up the podium, followed by Iron Club, Fast and Crazy Sim Sports, Last Lap Motorsports, Team Virus in 7th and 8th after a good comeback for the number 58 after their timeout. 9th Sonic Realms, 10th World Class Lions, 11th Asex Motorsports, followed by World Class Lions, the number 60 car, R4s, Absolute Beginners, Mafia Racing, Scuderia Gas Racing Team, Last Lap Motorsports, and with many laps down, the only retirement of the day, Wonder Girls, who just made it 11 laps. So, your thoughts about the race, Isaac?
It was quite a sort of. It was sort of quiet during the middle of the race. Then it was sort of livening up, and then the safety car came, and it all sort of brought everything back to life. Gave everyone a chance to make up for maybe some mistakes or bad luck during the first phase of the race. But I mean, I think you got to sort of give credit to the two class leaders. They both had really good races. You know, 3ID just continued to do their pace no matter what really happened to them, and they just used that to sort of pull through. And reminded me a lot of the sort of races that we were winning in GT1 World Series last year, and obviously as well with LLM and Major sort of pulling off the surprise win of the day, to be honest. It takes a lot of sort of courage to be able to, you know, win the race when there's all the pressure on you. And like I said, he just had to make it hard for them, and he did that and didn't really make any huge mistake, and yet Major still managed to come through and win quite comfortably in the end, so you can't really criticise them at all for that. You know, they were competing with Core all race, really, once. Like, the gap was like 25 seconds at most, and then they started catching them again, and even without the safety car, it was always possible that they could win.
So, just getting a word of how we continue.
Are we going to get any interviews? I saw that Free Idea in the TeamSpeak.
Yeah, but I think we're going to end it here today. Oh, wait a second. There's yes, sir. Congratulations for your second place. How did you see the final bits of the race developing?
Well, we had some weird damage. I was driving great laps and I'm like half a second slower than I was in the practice. Like my last lap was quite perfect and it's only 35.3 and it should have been easily at 34, so the race was good, but the car was bad.
Good driver never blames his equipment.
Isaac, please.
But I mean, it looked sort of like the damage. It wasn't just the damage. It put you off a little bit as well, because I mean, your times weren't that consistent either, and I think that was sort of what gave them a chance to pass you, because it looked like they couldn't really do anything about you until you got balked by the back marker, and then after that you sort of lost your rhythm and didn't have an answer to their pace.
Yeah, hard to do with this car like it was at the end.
Yeah, about the whole event. How did you experience the lapping around here today?
Good.
Talkative as ever.
Okay, so
And are you looking forward to the next race?
Well, I guess I'm driving it too. So yeah, should be more normal there, I guess.
And do you have any words of congratulations to LLM who've won their first ever major league race?
It took quite many years, but congrats, but I wanna see that they take it properly and not like when others have some problems. But yeah, anyway, congratulations.
yeah, thank you, Jesse.
I wanna say one word.
Okay.
I love my husband, Isaac Price.
Okay.
Good to know that. So, thank you.
Kiitos, kiitos.
And good night for you. It's late, even later than for me.
Good Nacht.
So that was Yassi Talkala, and now we get one driver of my 3ID here up. Congratulations for your comeback win here. How was the race for you, Aimo?
Hard, very difficult. Well, as you all could see, my teammate timed out. That was the main situation of the race. Later, Artu told me just that we can still win. He just told me to push every single lap. So I did.
It just looked like, from my perspective, it was one of those races where things go against you, but you've just got to focus on your own times and just let the race come towards you. You can't do anything about the time you've lost. You've just got to do the rest of the race as fast as you can and hope that it's enough.
Isaac telling me good things. What happened? Yeah, nearly everything went bad, but yeah, I don't know what to say. It's all you can do. Drive as fast as you can. Practice a lot. I did, in fact, before the race, 3 stints, and 2 of them was wrong because Artur gave me wrong setup. So it was pretty much pointless. Anyway, I couldn't. Any practice stints were slower than this. The fastest lap was fastest I ever done. Yeah, that's it really.
Well, congratulations. Are you looking forward to the next race?
No, I just wanted to get rest.
It's okay then. We grant you the rest, and I think it's going to be a good rest with a victory in the back.
Well, it's not official just yet. Maybe there will be some protest or something. You never know.
Okay, well, let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
Best.
Maybe LLM will protest you.
Who?
LLM, they like protesting people.
Yeah, well, there was one situation, Sector 2, when we just banged the wheels. Well, nothing big. Later there was a protest with last sector. I had accident with someone. I have no idea with who. I went off track. Then nearly Dennis Lind overtook me, but he crashed as well to someone. I don't know. It just the whole race I was driving with nothing in my mind. I literally didn't know nothing about the race. Who was where? How much time someone was? How much was the gap? I literally didn't know anything. I was just driving and driving.
Off topic slightly, I've been told by the GT2 driver of the day, Major, that it's not LLM that protests everyone, it's just braking, so need to make sure the blame is directly on him for that, not on LLM.
I don't know about that. And anyway, I won't say anything because I have 3 months prohibition by Dimensional Racing, so I keep everything in my mind.
So, well, okay. Thanks for the interview, and
Thank you.
wish you a good night.
Yeah, I hope it will. Bye bye.
Bye. So, and we're now wrapping it up, giving it an end. It was already a long day, and we're already streaming for 6 hours and 25 minutes nearly. So, on behalf of Dominik, who disappeared, and me, I say thank you to everyone who watched us throughout this night. Next race is going to be on the 23rd of November at Blackwood, where I will not be able to commentate, so Isaac, for you another chance if you want.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who did this. Thanks to you for driving the pace car. Thanks to Timo Hunyan, to Jonathan Provost, Stuart Baker, and of course also to Jonathan Palmer. I'm Thilo Falkenberg, and wish you a good night, and see you next time.